What is going on YouTube? It's EK here, and today we're bringing you another Call of Duty Warzone video. And today we are also going to be talking about a subject that I think a lot of people are extremely frustrated about with Warzone, and that is the lack of an anti-cheat within Warzone. I'm sure like most of us, unless you're on PS4 and have disabled crossplay, you're running into hackers almost every other game, and it is just getting super frustrating. And like a lot of the community, you're wondering, why has there not been any type of anti-cheat in the almost a year since this has come out? I mean, hacking in Warzone right now is pretty much everywhere, and it's not hard to get it either. Sure, you have to pay for it, and there's like monthly subscriptions depending on what kind of hacks you want to buy, but there's basically no way to stop a hacker because one, it's a free game, so you can just keep creating new accounts for this sucker. So hackers will, if they get banned from one account, they'll just make another and they'll just continue doing it over and over again. I don't see why that's fun, but that's a whole other story of why hackers hack. But in general, from Activision, they're not doing anything else about it. They're not doing any type of IP bans. They're not doing any type of hardware bans or anything of that sort to try to get these people to stop hacking the game, to discourage this. And maybe on some level, they're gonna say, well, anyone could just use a VPN and then master IP, so IP banning is useless, or anyone can just use a virtual machine and use that to master actual PC or something, and then if we ban that, then we can't stop them anyway, so what's the point? And it's kind of like, well, it's kind of like saying there's gonna be murder, thieves, and like murder, stealing, and drug use, so what's the point of having cops around? It's like you gotta do something to stop these people. And arguably the things you're talking about, IP, having different IPs with VPNs and like virtual machines, not everyone knows how to do that. Some hackers, all they know how to do is just to download the program and use the program to hack. They don't know how to do all those virtual machines, and maybe they don't want to pay for a VPN or something like that. So why don't you just do it? But anyways, there's also maybe a ton of other reasons why they do or don't. And I feel like at the end of the day, it's probably not I'm going to assume it's not that expensive to actually put in an anti-cheat. I mean, I have no idea how expensive it is, but considering last quarter, Activision made a ton of money off of Warzone. I think it was like in this at least 8 or 9 figures of revenue flow for this one game, and it's insanely high. So even if an anti-cheat was to cost them like $1 million a month, it's like you make it back within a quarter. So in my head, it's like, what's the point of, like, why wouldn't you have this in? And I think at the end of the day, for them, they're just like, well, we just don't care, because they're maybe on some level they're not losing enough players for it to really matter, right? Like at its height, Warzone had 75 million players. Granted, that's probably a little bit inflated number because some people have multiple accounts. Obviously, hackers, they're going to continue making more and more accounts. They're not accounting for unique amount of users, and I don't know what the daily active user account is in terms of playing in the game. I mean, I have never run into an issue of like finding a lobby, or having a lobby just like half with bots. So arguably, it's not that hard. People are still playing on a daily basis, but they're probably only, if they're losing, maybe a couple hundred people a day, or maybe even a couple thousand people a day, but getting, maybe tens of thousands more people to sign up every day, they're probably like, oh, whatever, like our attrition rate is really not that bad. But if they were losing, maybe tens of thousands per day, but only signing up a couple hundred people a day, maybe they'll start to worry then. But until that actually happens, they may not even give a crap. And that's assuming it's because it's due to cheating. They could just, for all they care, or for all they know, it's just due to popularity or something other than that. Also, one thing that we also want to think about is like maybe Warzone is in the back end of the, like, kind of in the back burner already, because they're already thinking about Modern Warfare 2, and maybe when that game comes out, they're going to completely just kind of axe Warzone and give Warzone 2 or something. I mean, that's probably not likely considering we're going to get a new map for Warzone in March. So they're probably going to keep continuing this game, kind of like how WoW has been around for like, what, 20 years now. And they still continue to just add on top of it. So maybe Warzone will be one of those games that just continues to add on top of it, despite like, you know, newer games coming out, newer versions of the game. But either way, they're gonna have to invest, I feel like, in an anti-cheat eventually. And why they won't just do it now, I mean, any number of reasons. I feel like there was a thing that Raw and a couple other people, YouTubers came out with, where like I guess someone at Activision was essentially selling code or getting maybe even rev share from these anti-cheat companies for, you know, basically allowing it, and he was like the decision maker on whether or not, like, how to, you know, really attack these, you know, companies or like developers who make these cheats, something like that. I don't know how, like, the conspiracy, I mean, I heard there's like email proof, but I haven't actually researched it into myself. But if someone wants to link it below, that'd be great. But to me, I just feel like, you know, there's just a lack of care from these companies. And I feel like one of the biggest reasons why there is no anti-cheat right now is because of the suits and the business, quote unquote, business people that run these companies. You know, all they see from Activision is, or from video games, is that they're a toy, you know, like an action figure. All they see it as a product and a toy, and not as a form of art, which it can be. You know, like, yes, I get that video games are toys, since it all started with, like, you know, Pac-Man and Worm and all that stuff, which goes waka 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 waka, and there wasn't really a whole lot of dynamics to the game. But like movies, all these genres have evolved into something different. Like, I mean, look at Assassin's Creed, look at Metal Gear Solid, look at Final Fantasy, look at all these amazing games that have incredible storylines and lore behind it. The Witcher. I mean, I could go on and name all these titles that have amazing stuff. And at the end of the day, it's like, look, games are more than just toys now. They're works of art, from just the artwork that goes into itself to the storylines they have. And I feel like if a lot of the execs that run these companies gave the games a little bit more respect and gave them a little bit more attention like they're supposed to, in order to, you know, kind of give these games a kind of better feel, they would make better products. But as of right now, all they see is, you know, money signs. How do we make a cheap enough product that can get us the most amount of revenue without having to spend too much? You know, they don't really care about the product itself. All they really care about at the end of the day is to make money. And I'm not saying like that doesn't happen in the music industry or the movie industry. There's a lot of cash cows out there that just make terrible music or terrible movies just to make money. But overall, they're still celebrated in a way that still works of art. Like, no one's gonna look at Schindler's List and be like, that's just a movie. No, people are gonna be like, dude, that's a work of art. You know, that's an amazing movie. You know, and everyone's gonna be like, you know, the Beatles, their albums will be historic because they're amazing works of art. I feel like in the same way, a lot of video games like Metal Gear Solid, the Final Fantasy series, they are works of art. You know, the Assassin's Creed series, the story that goes behind these things, these are works of art. Like, these are original. I mean, if video games never existed, a lot of these storylines would be either made into books or movies, or one or both of them. You know, they would just be in those types of genres instead of video games if they never existed. God hope that reality is not true. So I feel like, you know, the same amount of respect and care should be given into these categories, but it's not. And it's just because of these people who just don't give a crap about the video game industry. They just, you know, they don't respect it the way gamers do. And I feel like if more gamers got into the industry and were able to run the industry like they wanted it to, we'd be having so much better products out there. But, you know, that's just my take on why there's no anti-cheat right now, is because there's just no respect for the game. You know, these people up on top running the show, they just don't give a crap. You know, at the end of the day, they're just like, well, whatever. Like, as long as it makes us money, you know, I'm gonna put the time and resources into places where it makes money. You know, they're gonna put their money into the artists who make our skin packs. You know, the weekly updates. Because, you know, if it takes like maybe 10 grand to make a skin pack, but it returns 6 figures per skin pack per se, like I'm just making up numbers here, they're obviously going to put all their efforts into that side of the business over everything else, because it's like, well, what's the point? Like, you know, anti-cheat is essentially just a preventive measure. It doesn't actually equate, for a person to actually equate that into actually gaining revenue is really hard. You know, like when you create a product that can actually generate revenue, it's a lot easier to predict revenue from that than to invest into another product that essentially that might or may not, you know, bring back revenue. Because like for them, it's like, oh, well, we can put in an anti-cheat, but if say it only brings back maybe 10% of the users who have left because of cheating, then for them it's like, maybe it's not worth it. You know, to them it's like, well, who cares about that? Even though it'll improve the game overall and improve the livelihood of every single player, they don't really care. I feel like they're not going to care unless it brings them money. And unless it can be proven it can bring them money, they're just not going to do it at the end of the day. So, but that's just my take on it. I'm curious to hear what you guys think of why Activision just won't put in an anti-cheat, or has like at least doesn't seem to be thinking about it. You know, I mean, they could either develop their own, or they can just, you know, use a third-party anti-cheat. I'm sure there's a ton out there that people can just license into their game. I have no idea how much that would cost, because I imagine there would be a lot of server space in order to handle the amount of players that are playing and the amount of information that they need to carry. But overall, I feel like the cost of an anti-cheat, you know, it outweighs does not outweigh the need for one. You know, the need for one outweighs the cost, and at least that's from a player perspective. It might be a little different from the corporate perspective, but I feel like the corporate perspective needs to start looking from the customer perspective, because there's bound to be a point right now that, you know, players are just gonna have had it with this game. And arguably, you can even see on Twitch, people are moving back to Apex Legends, are moving back to Fortnite, they're moving to Valorant. So many other battle royale games are getting a bigger audience now than Warzone. And I think Activision really needs to focus on this and really needs to start paying attention. Anyways, that's just my take on this. Please let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like the video, subscribe, smash the notification button, or smash the like button, I should say that. Smash the like button to help me out in the algorithm. Subscribe for more videos. Make sure you hit the notification button to know when my videos come out. And please let me know what you think of the anti-cheat situation in Warzone right now. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Please tell someone you love them, and have a great day. And I will talk to you guys later. Take it easy.